Lead with Legacy, the official podcast of IOL Global. Here, we will explore leadership that outlives titles and trends. Through conversations with faith-based and marketplace leaders, we will discuss integrity, conviction, and purpose. To learn more about us, visit us at iolglobal.com. Today, I am extremely honored to be on with my friend and colleague, Mr. Jeremiah Hammon. Jeremiah and his partner, Brooke Braga, are co-founders of the Project Revolution. And Jeremiah's going to talk a little bit more about that, what that is and what that means, and some of the other initiatives that he has going on. So I'm going to give the floor to him and let us tell him a little bit more about himself. And then later we'll talk how we know each other.
Very cool. Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. I am honored to be here and talking with you. Project Revolution. Let's start off there. I like it. So Project Revolution is a business that me and Brooke started to help the project management managers, leaders of the world develop those mission critical projects and lead and deliver and get results out of them. We are here to pull the future forward faster. That's our goal. And so everything that we do is helping people get certified if they want to get certified. We understand the PMP, which is a global certification by PMI, which is the Project Management Institute. They have the standard and the guidelines for major project management. And then we also, I work a lot with executive coaching. So I do a lot of coaching with executives to help them build not only their teams, but really understand themselves at a deeper level so they can lead at a deeper level. Because at the end of the day, leadership is the ultimate advantage in what we're doing. I like to tell people this, 20% is understanding those frameworks, getting your frameworks and understanding how to use the tools. And whether you're leading projects in operations, no matter what you're doing, we got to have frameworks around that. But the gold is in your leadership abilities. 80% is understanding how to motivate, handle conflict, handle people to get them to take appropriate action in the projects and the things that they're leading in their businesses. That's what I do. So I help people get certified. I help people in project management understand how to use project management better. And then I help executives really understand their teams so they can create high voltage cultures.
And I love that. And that's one of the reasons you're on this podcast, is because we want to focus on leadership. What makes a good leader? What does a good leader look like? How do we help other people be good leaders? And so you were such a perfect and logical fit for this podcast to talk about leadership. So let's talk a little bit about how we know each other. And I'll kind of speak to that. So I was on a project, which people listening in the podcast will hear this a few times. I was on a project last year to bring together a collective of project managers, of trainers, to teach together in kind of a remote but smashed together setting, so teach some courses. And I found you on LinkedIn because you are quite famous on LinkedIn. And I found you and requested that you be a part of this team and be one of these instructors. And you so graciously agreed. And so we got a unique opportunity for about 6 months to work together off and on and create some courses, do some instructional design, and with a full team of people,
it's fun.
create this, what's called Pure Management Alliance. And everyone can check that out if they want to. Jeremiah's got a course on there. And so that's how we got in touch. And since then, we've been able to collaborate on some stuff, kind of send resources back and forth. I've been able to follow the work that you and Brooke are doing. It's amazing. It's awesome. And I think that we are connected in more ways than we probably collectively realize at this point. But it's been really amazing to see engagement in the transformation that you guys are going through and your business is growing and the people that you're helping, because we see a lot of testimonials on LinkedIn from people talking about, what you guys have done for them, how you've helped them. And so it's been pretty incredible. Let me ask you this question. I want to come back to the new project that you have too. So don't let me forget that as well. What shifted for you from managing projects, and where did you start with that, to experiencing this personal and leadership transformation that you guys are in now?
When I was working on this project here in Portland, Oregon, and One of the biggest things was it was like we had a very short window to really be able to lead. And as you know, everybody knows when you're working on projects, it's like, you know, we all have different stages of development as project managers, you know, and just in our levels of consciousness and everything, you know, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Everything that we're doing, we're constantly growing. So when you first kick off in your project management journey, we're really hungry for that technical knowledge. And that really is giving us our base experience, you know, your breadth and depth of your technical abilities to be able to handle the job, and that will only get you so far. And so as you start growing in your leadership, you can either stay, you know, more of the doer, or we get an opportunity to be the achiever leader. And you get to move up and you get to, so sometimes we like to be doers, helpers, then we become achievers. And then from there, it's like, well, how do we get into leadership?
Yeah.
And the reason why that clicked for me and really what changed my life is I was working on a lot of really mission critical projects. Now, I've worked in Department of Defense, I've worked in aerospace, I've worked in nuclear. And when you're working and starting to lead teams, there's a lot of requirements around what we're doing. So the technical aspect has to be there. One. Two, you got to then be able to get people to do the hard things even when they don't want to. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, how do we get people to, and it's really like, you know, we're all doing our best. We show up and we're doing our best to achieve the mission, achieve the goal. But as we get down into the weeds and we're down in the, you know, and in the depths of the work itself, only seeing what's in front of us, literally like right under our
Yeah.
nose, we forget about the bigger picture. That's leadership.
Yeah.
We have to be able to come back to the 30,000-foot view, understand why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then how do we say it in a way that people can understand and they see themselves in it and how they're growing, who they become on
Yeah.
the other side of it.
Yeah,
And that to me
100%.
was the
I
biggest thing.
100% agree. We're kind of walking through that in IOL right now. So I have a phenomenal assistant I've been super blessed with, and even more so blessed that she's here and that she gets to come into the office. Because although I've worked remote for so long, I thought I didn't think I was going to like that, but I really am liking it. And so we're working on some stuff now, similar to what you and I were doing before, where we're creating some coursework. And so we're walking through some instructional design, and I'm teaching her how to do these things, and that exact same perspective. Like because she's never done this before. She's phenomenal and she's a quick learner, but right now she's only seeing the compartmentalized part of it. Like, oh, we're
Right.
doing the outline, and then we're doing the PowerPoint, and then and it's easy to get lost in those little compartments of things. And I'm trying to explain to her like this and show her this is what we're going to build. This is what it's going to become. And she's very bright, brilliant, but she's never done it. And so how I've had to struggle, and I've told her this, I'm like, as a leader, I have to get you to see the whole picture from start to finish. Because right now it's like, oh, no, this is, and she's not complaining, but I get it. You know, it's just this little part, and we have to learn how to give that story of like, it's the whole thing. This
Yeah.
is where our end result is. And it's not easy, you know, because it's all in my head. And I'm like, oh, I know how to do it. I could just do it. But that's not a good leader if I do it. You know, I want people, and I tell her and I tell other people, I want people who are going to be better than me. I want to teach you better than me. I want you to know better than me so that I don't have to worry about the thing once I pass it off. And part of that is looking at the whole picture and standing back, like you said, and really seeing the big vision of it. So I
It's
love
so,
that.
yeah, it's so important that as leaders that we we trust our team just a little bit more than they've earned, because that's how they grow.
Yeah.
It's how they grow. Because if you know, we all know that you give me a task and you say, Jeremiah, here's a task. I know 100% you're going to get this done and it's easy. Well, I'm going to be I'm going to be like, oh, it's not, it doesn't really fire you up. But now if you give me a task that where let's say I'm a 5 on the scale of skill and it's a task that requires a 7, you've now stretched me
Yes.
to be a little bit better and trust me a little bit more than I've earned. And I know,
Yeah.
but now you're contributing to my growth, and I'm going to go at it with full gusto because I know it's achievable. It's a little bit outside my skill set, and now you've motivated and empowered me.
Yes.
That's
100%.
leadership. That's teamwork. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing
I
I've learned in
agree.
my career.
I love that, and I agree with that so much, and I have had leaders in my life who've done that to me too, for me, that has gotten me where I am because they pushed me just a little bit, but kindly and with grace, and allowed me to make mistakes, right? It's okay if we make mistakes. I have learned more from mistakes than I have, you know, just doing the thing, the easy thing. So I love you speaking to that. Please excuse my voice. It's getting a little scratchy today.
Number 3, you know, just really quick, I want to pull on that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things when you say, you know, you have to give people a little bit of grace. We have to understand and give just a little bit of grace. There's the dark side of leadership too. And I had somebody say, "I'm going to let you do the task until you hang yourself." And I was like, "That doesn't seem like the kind of leader that I wanna follow. That doesn't seem like
No.
follow-worthy leadership, because you're not supposed to let me, completely, die on the vine. You're supposed to stretch me, not break me. Bend, don't break." And so that's you have excellent leadership right there. I can tell just by that. Well, also knowing you, but just the fact that you say we gotta give people grace too and understanding, that's super, super important.
Yeah, I really do think it's so important because what took me years and years to learn, right? If I'm trying to teach or mentor someone to do that same thing, I have to constantly remind myself that took you years. How many mistakes did you make? How many people had to come behind you and look at what you did that shaped you and that were great, that said, hey, you know what, you might have missed this. So let's just point this out. Let's walk through this together. That's what a true leader and what a true mentor is allowing that opportunity to fail. If we can't ever fail, then you're just creating an environment of fear and people are working under you in fear. And that's never a good place to be. And they won't stay.
No.
People will not stay in that environment. So
Nope, they start looking right away, and then they basically quietly quit.
yes. And then you're over here, what happened? Well, that's why it's important too, to continue your learning journey as a leader, to continue to learn. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast is to learn from different leaders. Everybody that's going to be on here has experience and insights to share. And it's all going to be different, right? Because you're all from different backgrounds, you're all doing different things. And so your experience is going to be different than mine and vice versa. And so it's just a unique opportunity, just kind of a fun opportunity to talk and say, okay, well, what's something that what's something that we may never thought of? I may never have thought of it or encountered it because we're from different places and different areas. So
That's why
um
masterminds are so fun.
yes,
All the different perspectives. We tell people if you want innovation, you gotta have new perspectives and new voices.
yeah,
And if you wanna get what you've always done, do what you've always get. To get what you've always got, do what you've always done. A lot of people go, "I wanna do that." It's like, if you really wanna go forward faster, new perspectives, new voices.
absolutely, absolutely. I 100% agree. All right, next question. What do leaders commonly misunderstand about the true role of a project manager?
All of it. Well,
That's the truth though, right?
yeah, it's that's really like to quote my good friend Andy Kaufman, "Well, it depends." And it's true because it depends on what your industry is, but let's like in the industries that I've worked mostly in, DoD, DOE, aerospace and nuclear, we're really responsible for profit and loss, P&L. So we really have to know a lot about scope, schedule, cost, so the technical ability and how they integrate and how to actually know the technical aspect of that. But then the next part is really understanding that there's frameworks for these critical things like decision making, conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is not that we're just born a leader and then we just wake up and we're like, I am so good at conflict resolution. They lean into it. A lot of us do not like conflict, and it's everywhere. There's tension, whether it's healthy or negative, in every environment. And so we have to learn tools and techniques around that. And we can. And so a lot of people are like, well, I just kind of just do whatever when really around it, or they avoid it altogether. But
Yeah.
really, you have to lean in and learn it. So a lot of the things that I've seen in leadership are that people, they miss certain aspects of frameworks that they can learn to step up their leadership ability and then get the reps to do it. Like you have to practice it. It doesn't just magically happen. Yes, some people are going to be more charismatic than others, but you have to work at it. And so in the project management industry, we really are the bridge between the CEOs and the executives and then the people doing the work. And so we have to have all of those skill sets. You have to have the skill sets of the CEOs, the VPs, the CFOs, especially in the industries I've worked in. Then you have to be also get down on the ground and be able to work with everybody, have the technical, but speak their language, top down, bottoms up. So a lot of people think project managers are admin and paper pushers, and I've heard that a lot, and I couldn't
Right.
be further from the truth. They bridge the gap between the doers doing the doing and the leaders planning the strategy and getting the result in the organization and the society.
So true. And I certainly fall and my default is the avoidance. Like if there's, a conflict or there's change, because I've never really been great at change. My default setting is to avoid. But I've learned over the years and truly, and this is no joke, like from people like you, that that's not the best way to deal with things, right? It's drags it out, it makes it worse, it makes it longer, it makes it more terrible for everybody else. And the elephant in the room is already the elephant in the room, so we might as well just deal with it, right?
Deal with it,
But
lean
deal
in.
with it well, you know. And I think you're exactly right. I think there's a misconception. I think we're getting better at it as a whole about, what is the project manager? What do they do? Who can be a project manager? Who is a project manager? So, and for those people that are listening that are not in the project management world, there is a whole world of this and I would say thousands upon thousands of people in this line of work. Um, and they're doing really, really integral, really important
Important.
work.
Yes.
It's so important to different industries and different things that are going on. And some of them don't even know they're doing it. They're doing the role and they don't know they're doing it. And so I love what you guys are doing at Project Revolution because you're helping people understand what they're doing, what their mission is, how to do it really, really well with good emotional intelligence, good cultural intelligence, good leadership, and to really kind of find that and ignite like, okay, I was already doing this, but I can do it better. I can do it, with a certification, or I can get a raise doing what I'm doing and things like that. So you guys are really have a unique opportunity and a unique way to bring that out and to see the good in the people and the good that they're doing. And I just love that. And that's one of the reasons we want to have you on here because I really think that the work you're doing is really incredible. And you do it in
Thank you.
such an energetic way. You're one of my very favorite people. Like if anybody ever needs a pick me up, just, chat with Jeremiah and you'll feel amazing. Um, so tell me a little bit about before we get to some other questions, tell me about the new project that you have going on.
Well, the Global Project Management Collective is a community that a few of me and my peers decided to create because we wanted to have a place where we could learn project management and the future of project management in real time together. We're very passionate about it. So the Global Project Management Collective is what it is, and it's just a community on LinkedIn. It's all about us understanding that there's a lot more to it than just and I hate to say this, but there's a lot of I want to say generic terminology and messaging out there around what project management is.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because in the world of AI, which is incredible because we have AI, we can leverage it. I'm a huge proponent fan. I'm a fan of AI. You got to use it. But then there's also the easy button, and so LinkedIn is turned into a platform that's got a lot of this, and I wanna say it's like cookie cutter or watered down, techniques about project management.
Yeah.
And in order to really understand project management, the projects that are gonna move the world forward, the things that are changing that our world needs to be better, a better place, are being led by project managers.
Yep.
And so what won't work for them is gonna be, let's just have growth mindset today, versus fixed mindset. Those are some really generic terminology around there's a lot of depth that has to have about, well, what is growth mindset? How do I measure it? How do I manage it? How do I really truly become the person I want to become? So we put together this group where we're gonna have those strong conversations where we take those higher level things and we're gonna break them down to how do you really do this stuff so that we can pull the future forward faster and impact on those mission critical projects and make them succeed, help them succeed. That's
I
our goal.
love that.
That's
I
our
love that. And so just so everybody knows, can any project managers join this? Can anybody join this with you
Let's go.
guys? And you guys meeting on a regular cadence or
Yeah, one of the things that we're doing is we're gonna kick it off and, the global standard, the project management book of knowledge, 8 came out, and everybody's all like, "Oh,
yeah,
8, we gotta do the thing," and it's a standard for a reason, everybody, the
it is.
the PMBOK, it's one of those things, either you hate it, you love it, but it's got a lot of good information in there. I'm telling you, when I got into aerospace and nuclear, I leveraged all of that stuff about scope, schedule, cost, and all the integration and the, earned value. Literally all of my PMP training was 100% utilized. And by the way, Joseph Phillips helped with that.
Ah,
And so all of that stuff happened. And it was so when I talk about the PMBOK, I'm very passionate about it because just like anything, you got to take what is useful, discard what is useless, and then make the essence your own. You got to tailor it. So we're kicking this off, and the very first session is coming up on next Tuesday, the 20th. And I'm going to lead by talking about the standard, the PMBOK, and I'm going to do a quick high level where we're going to go through it. And I'm going to talk about section 1 and 2. And then over the next couple sessions, we're all going to break it out and have really good conversations with people around what it is, how to use it, what sucks, what rocks, what doesn't.
right.
We're going to go through all the things.
That's amazing. I love that. I think it's so great that you're willing to do these things that build these, other people up and explain things to them in a way that's relatable as well. And just to backtrack a little bit, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, Joseph Phillips is a world renowned project management trainer. I was extremely honored, still am extremely honored. I was his executive assistant for 6 years. We did many, many projects together, many, many courses together. He has over 1.5 million students. If you are not connected with him, you certainly should be. So that's a free plug for Joe,
And
and
I
just
was one of them.
for all the leadership. And I am who I am a lot because of Joe. He is a wonderful leader, an extremely good mentor. He was very, very kind and gracious to teach me a lot of the things that I know. And so no shame in plugging him at all. All right. So let's go to, well, first of all, I want to talk about something a little fun for a minute. So tell us about how you're a rock star. Let's talk a little bit about that. That's different.
Yeah, so I do. I love music. I think music is the thing. Music is one of the most important aspects to most people's life, right? It helps us. It's like a time machine. It's funny. Have you ever heard a song and it transports you back to, this place? You can smell what you were smelling, feel what you were feeling, think what you were thinking. So I'm a huge fan of music. And growing up, I come from a long line of musicians. My grandfather played with Hank Williams Sr. My grandma was a rockabilly pianist, so I learned how to sing and play guitar really well. And now I play music. I have me and Brooke. So my partner, Brooke Braga, she and her and I play in music. One of them is called Atomic 45. And then I've got, are you ready, everybody? Metallica tribute band, where a group of people got me together and they were like, would you be willing to play in a Metallica tribute here locally? And I was like, in Portland. And I'm like, sure, why not? And, they're a really fun band. And they're arguably one of the biggest bands in the world. And they have been for a long time. They're still packing.
That is incredible.
It is. It's crazy. And so we play here locally and we get to be little rock stars. So we pack shows. We get to get up there and play. And I'm the singer guitar player. I'm Jake Hetfield. And we pack these big shows as if we were Metallica.
That is so fun. I
A lot of
love it.
fun.
And I really thought that was a fun thing to share with everybody too, because, I think everybody should know how exciting and how multifaceted what you do is and where a lot of your energy comes from. I also come from a family of musicians as well. Dr. Chambers, my dad, who is the founder of IOL, plays just, I don't know, their instruments or so. And we grew up with instruments, playing instruments and all of that. And so and I agree with you. Actually, my church services I was in this past Sunday, that part of the message was talking about, like, you can hear a song, right? And you can hear that song that you haven't heard in 20 years. And you're just, every word, where you were at the time you heard it. And so you're so right. It's so integral to what our lives and different things that we're doing. And I think it's really fun that you and Brooke do that and that you have that way to kind of get out of the desk and the project management and all of that. And not that it's not fun, right? Because what you guys are doing is really fun, but it gives you a
I love
different
it.
outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, what instrument do you play?
Well, so I don't currently. I really should, right? I grew up playing the flute, and here's a fun fact for no one who knows. I went to a high school in Marietta, Georgia, and I did the marching band and I did color guard, but we had a unique opportunity. We got to go play in Carnegie Hall.
Ooh,
So, yeah. So I've actually played in Carnegie Hall. I'm not going to say it was great, but I do not currently play anything. Probably should. My son is currently taking piano lessons. He's 6,
very cool.
and he just had his first recital in December, and so that was fun. So kind of have a lot of different stuff going on. It's a lot of fun. It's dear to my heart too because I just grew up with all of that. My brother played the trumpet. And we were just really involved in all of that. So way back when I was really little, they were playing the spoons and stuff. And hey, it's coming back though. There's a lot of YouTube videos on that. So
I'll rock some spoons. I'm not scared. I got it down.
there you go. There you go. All right. Well, let's get back to some leadership questions. What happens to teams and leaders when guidance, clarity, and healthy leadership are missing?
Boy, guidance, clarity, and healthy leadership are missing. Wow. So without clarity, right, we're pretty much blind. So I would have to say chaos and uncertainty reign. And the one thing about project management is our goal as leaders is to create certainty in an uncertain world. Right. So because
Yeah.
people, even though we don't necessarily a lot of us say, I thrive in uncertainty, but the question is, do we really? We think we do in a lot of instances. And from my experience working with thousands and thousands of people, we'll say, oh, I love uncertainty in certain aspects, right? Certain aspects of my life. But for the most part, people want to know, like you give them a task, they want certainty that they might be able to achieve it somewhat. They want certainty that you actually have their best interest in mind. So our goal of leaders is that we have to create certainty in an uncertain world. We have to Our whole job is to give clarity and vision. Without it, everything is blurred and unfocused, right? And then if you don't have leadership, if it's missing, I mean, what do you have? You have managers, and don't get me wrong, managers are not it's not that managers are not leaders. It's just that management is the action of getting the doers to do the doing, and you miss almost the human component aspect in a lot of ways because you're thinking task driven instead of people driven.
Yes.
That's from what you asked, that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, and I love that. I think that you're exactly right. Like I can give a task, right? I can say, I need you to print out this form for me. And I can do that all day long and never have leadership in it, like why we're doing it, how we're doing it. Or I think something that a lot of leaders kind of run into is like sharing too I think there's a fine line, sharing too much of the negative. Like
Oh,
I don't need you uncertain if you're gonna get a paycheck next week. I need you certain that you're gonna get that paycheck.
I've
And so I
heard
think
that.
sometimes we feel like, oh, if we share with our team, they'll get on. No, they're gonna jump ship if you share too much. So I think it's important that there's like a happy medium there. Not everybody needs to know everything that's in your leadership role. That's why you're the leader,
Yeah,
right?
bottom
You're the
line.
one that's shouldering that. You're the one that gets orchestration to get those things done, not to scare everybody and keep them in kind of a feeling of defeat, because we don't want that, right? We want to encourage people and lift them up. And please don't take me wrong, that's not like sticking our head in the sand. Like we don't want to stick our head in the sand. If we're sinking, we should you know probably make some decisions and let people know that. But I think as a general rule, the whole humdrum and like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, it's not a good place to lead from. You need that clarity. You need to have clear guidance. Look,
Clear.
we're going to do A to B and we're going to get it done and we're going to have good results from it. So yeah, I love your answer to that. All right, we're going to run through a couple more. So you teach the P is PMP all you teach? Because I know you teach PMP.
No, 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 no. No, it's a very small thing of what we do.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about, and forgive me because it's been a long morning already.
Yeah, no
But I know you teach PMP, and I know that's really important. So again, we'll reiterate, the PMP is a project management professional certification. It's tested and issued through PMI, which is the Project Management Institute. There are various different kinds of trainers. There's in-person trainers like Jeremiah does. There's online trainers. So, and actually we're going to have a lot of different, I don't want to say a few different ones on here as well. But Jeremiah is one of the top trainers in the industry. He trains a lot of people in this. So talk to us a little bit about that and how that's changing right now. And then some of the other stuff that you guys train as well.
Sure, sure. The PMP for me is the reason why I got into this is I met Andy Kaufman. So if anybody here knows Andy Kaufman, he is a legend in the project management community. He's awesome. He's got a podcast called the People Project Podcast. I'm not trying to plug it. I'm just saying, hey,
No, it's
it's an
fine. Yeah.
incredible podcast. And him and I met, working with Kayla McGuire. She's another really, really awesome, incredible, project management. She's a business consultant, just incredible, all around great human. And her and I were doing some team training down in Silicon Valley. And Andy came in to do this keynote, and him and I got talking. We started talking about project management, and I train teams. Just so a side note, I train teams, high performance teams. I help businesses with their culture. I help recover projects, all kinds of things. But we started talking, and he has this really, really cool, university business, project management essentials training that he does. And he was like, I would love for you to facilitate that. If you're interested, come to the thing. And so we got in there, we started talking. And so we ended up in a partnership where I was working with Andy, and I go to the universities and do the businesses, and I help and I train this essentials with him. It's somewhat, he's got a group of facilitators, and we work with Andy, and it was awesome. And then I was like, well, I really want to get, people to learn the PMP correctly, because I've been on the other side of the fence working in defense where I needed PMPs to have that knowledge. And I would go and I would hire them, but they hacked the test versus passed the test and understood it and was using it. And it's kind of the downfall with any test, right? People figure out ways
It
around
is.
it. So I was like, I am going to train the PMP for all of my peers out there who need real, project management professionals. If you study with us, you learn it at the deepest level. And so we teach you, one, how to pass the PMP, but we also teach you how to use it. And through our course, there's exercises where we're really helping you implement and do this out in the real world so you can really ingrain it to become project management professionals. So I have a live class where I do that. It's actually a self-paced live class where we do it over 90 days. People get in there, they can join anytime. And I'm in there, I train them once a day, once a week. We get in there and we do awesome stuff. And then we have a full community of rocking people having fun. Yes, you can have fun training the PMP. It's an experience, not it doesn't need to be grueling. And then we take you through the whole journey and we're there with you until the moment you pass. And it's very, very personal. And it's something that I am doing as a way to give back to something that served me incredibly well and transformed my life. That's one. And then I've trained teams and high performing teams, and then I coach executives. And I have a
I
full
love that.
program that helps executives really understand who they are and how to lead their teams better. So people love what they do, why they do it, how they do it, and most importantly, who they do it for.
Yes. And one thing I was thinking as you were talking is like one thing I really want to hone in on is like there's a lot of different trainers out there, right? It's for everything, right? A lot of different trainers for the PMP. And I think what's important because I know a lot of you from the project that we did before, just, being in this industry. I think one of the important things for people to realize is that they need to find somebody that they can connect well with.
That's right.
Because, I mean, let's just be honest, not everyone's going to like Amanda. Not everyone's going to like Jeremiah. Not everyone's going to want to listen to my voice, but they might want to listen to your voice. And so I think it's important to, one, know the mission of the person that's teaching, right? What are they doing and why are they doing it? And then what's their strategy? Is that strategy going to work for you? Is it going to work for your schedule? And do you want to hear this person? Because
You want to listen to
I
them.
mean, truly, there's some people I don't want to listen to, and that I can't because this is a really serious process of learning this information, right?
It is.
And it's grueling, which is why I haven't done it. No, look, I have my CAPM. I'm good.
One thing I want to pull on that really quick. That is the most important thing that you said there is it doesn't there's so many different trainers. You got to find what's right for your learning style.
Yeah,
And honestly, also for what we do, I literally talk to every single person before they join our community because I want to make
I love
sure that
that.
it's right with me and I'm a good fit for them. Because I'm high energy, everybody, if you haven't noticed, like we get it done. And so
Yeah,
if you need somebody who's a little slower talker to explain, totally cool. I'm going to go in there and deliver it. I'm going to make sure you know it and understand it and ingrain it. But this is who I am. So if this is
yeah.
too much for some people, and it is, there's
Yeah,
other
and
people out
there's some people that aren't enough for other people, and that's why I think it's important that you find, if you're going for this, if you're doing, you're training for your PMP, that you find a good fit for that. And I love too, one thing I've noticed about you because I kind of watch on LinkedIn and everything. If it isn't a good fit, you're gonna find them a good fit. I mean, you're not just be like, hey, see you, bye, because we have a good network of people out there that we can say, hey, this is really not. I'm probably not your person, and that's okay. But I want to get you the right person. I want to find you the right person that's going to be able to train you. And I know for a fact that you and Brooke do that. And I love that because it's not a competition. And we're all allowed to win. It's all okay,
we need to.
you know,
It's
and
the
we're
same
all
goal.
unique. Yeah. It is, and there's a lot of you out there, and so, yeah, it can get a little daunting sometimes. I think people feel like, "Oh, I don't know which direction to go or which person to go with," and I think the fact that you will talk to them and kind of mentor through that in the beginning is unique because if I came to you and I said, "Hey, Jeremiah, I wanna get my PMP, walk me through it," and you said to me, "Hey, I'm probably not your best fit based on your schedule, what you have going on, what your goals are, but let me tell you who is a good fit for you and
100%.
what would work for you." And so I think that's a really beautiful thing. And I think that is a testament to good leadership. And it trains people and teaches people that it's okay that there's differences in all of us. All right. So here's the fun part. So on this podcast, we're going to ask most everybody, if I can remember every time, the same two questions because I think it's really important. Like all of our perspectives and life's journeys are different, right? And so we've been through some different things, and so I think it's going to be interesting to hear what everybody's answers on these are. So the first question is to name a leader that you admire and share briefly why that leader influenced you.
Okay, so here's one of the number one leaders that really changed my life was a guy by the name of Joe Corbelli. And Joe Corbelli is an incredible leader that I met working he's a senior vice president, program manager in aerospace. And he really taught me the power of we, not me.
Yes.
And he was like, he would catch your language because words matter. And if you were like, well, if you were talking and you would separate yourself from the team, he would nicely correct it. and he was a master of the pre-frame and the framing of how to set up a meeting, how to get people to do things, and his demeanor, I never seen him get shaken, and we did some things. We ended up in some projects, doing some stuff together, and he really showed me he was model the way. Model the way is one of the number one things, right? Which is another way of saying, lead from the front,
Mhm.
but you can't it's not like do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
That's not the thing. It's model the way, lead from the front, right? He was one of those people. He
I
would
love that.
model the way, and he showed me what it meant to be an exceptional leader, not just in words and I mean, but how he actually led the team.
Yeah.
And so he was one of the most influential people in my career and helped change my life.
I love that. That's wonderful. And that's what I mean. Everybody's answer is going to be different because it may be some really historical person that has really spoken to your life by the things that they've done and the things that they have emulated. And then it may be somebody that you came along in your career. It may be somebody that would never even know that they were a leader to you and taught you and shaped you. And I think that's so beautiful because there's a wide array and everybody's answer is so different. And I just love it. I'm having a lot of fun with that. So
Awesome. That's a good one.
all right, last question. And then we'll kind of wrap up a little bit. When you think about your legacy as a leader, what lasting impact do you hope it will have on people or organizations?
For me, leadership is all about truly it's the self-exploring journey of life. I don't believe that you can be a leader 9 to 5. I don't think that's a leader. One of the things that I'm trying to leave behind is that, leadership is the ultimate advantage in everything we do. And I know there's a lot of people that do this, but if you can really truly understand yourself at the deepest level, no matter what you've gone through, and then you can regulate yourself. You can then inspire others, and we have the ripple effect of positivity and good things out in the world. And
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, especially when you're talking about productivity, performance. Now, I specifically am talking about people who are achievers. That's my legacy. I work with high achievers, people who
Yeah.
want to contribute and grow to make society better, their communities better, themselves better. And all of us have the limiting beliefs and the fears that have been established in us from our childhood. It's innate in a lot of us. We have to have a higher power, no matter what that is, some kind of spiritual guidance that takes us to the next level. We have to
Right.
understand what that is. And when we do, and we lock into that, the world becomes our playground. Life is happening for us, not just to us. And that's so important when we realize that. So my mission when I get around people is I believe energy is contagious and I want to spread energy and emotion that's worth catching. And I want to make the world better in the end. That's my whole goal with every interaction that I make.
I'm gonna tell you something, Jeremiah. You're killing it at it. So you're doing it. You do a great job. So really quick, I thought about this when you were answering that because I think about this sometimes when there's not a single one of us that our emotions don't kind of get out of control sometimes, and we don't have to like check ourselves or should check ourselves. So real quick before we end, I want you to speak just a little bit on you're gonna have to say it for me. The
Amygdala?
hijack.
Yeah, amygdala hijack.
Yeah. So I want you to talk to us a little bit about that because that's something that you really spoke into my life and something that has really, really kind of helped to shape me. And I know it's kind of long and multifaceted, but just tell us a little bit about it, and then people can come to you and learn a little bit more about it if they want to too.
Yeah, so every one of us have triggers in the world, and it's based off of the moments and events we've had in our life and the meaning that we give those moments. And a lot of our brain is constantly searching for things to go wrong in self-preservation. There can just be, you ever been driving down the road and got really mad at somebody out of nowhere because they cut you off, really was it bad? You don't know. But over time, you created some kind of a meaning around that, and it's your amygdala is getting hijacked and causing you to amp up in frustration. It can be fear, it's the fight, flight, or freeze, fawn, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Those things happen. So we have to overcome fear. We have to understand what our relationship is with fear first,
Yeah.
because this happens to us everywhere, all over the world, all the time. It's happening constantly. And if we're not in control of our emotions, we're out of control. We only control ourselves, we influence others.
Yes.
So we have to stop, understand the triggers in our life, because once you do, you can self regulate. And that's really, really crucial in a world that's moving so fast with so much uncertainty in it, is for us to be able to know what that feeling is inside before our amygdala hijacks. And then how can we handle ourselves in the moment? That's emotional intelligence. That is self regulation, part of it, self management. And we have to constantly be searching for the way to reframe that to keep our amygdala, which is naturally doing this, at bay and our willpower high. And the way you do this is you manage your state. You have to show up and know, how do I want to interact in this meeting? Who am I in this meeting? Am I inspired, focused, and confident? And you go in there inspired, focused, and confident. How do I raise my energy to a level of a peak state so that you're not at a lower state? Because a lower state, the easier it is to hijack your emotions.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like out there. It's very, very critical if we work on one thing is to work on how we get triggered and how we handle that in a moment. That is executive presence. That is you in the moment regulating yourself. And that is the actual performance indicator of emotional intelligence.
And I'm so glad I remember to ask you about that because I really have used that so much. So Jeremiah teaches this in a course that he has on period. So I have really used that more times than I can even tell you to kind of just recheck myself and say, okay, I need to do this differently or think about this differently or reframe like this situation. Is it really what I think it is, or is it, maybe it's a little bit different than what my brain is telling me that it is? And I love that. And I love we got to speak about that as well. I just want to thank you so much for being on here. I feel like every time I talk to you that I learn something and that I get to be a little bit smarter, at least for a while. You are absolutely brilliant. I hope that everybody watching, everybody listening will go and connect with Jeremiah on LinkedIn. He's super easy to find. He posts a lot of really fun and exciting stuff. And so I would highly recommend connecting with him. And is it projectrevolution.com?
Yep. It's projectrevolutionllc.com.
LLC.com. And so we will put all this information at the bottom of the video. You can link to him on LinkedIn. You can link to their business and connect with them. And I highly advise that you follow because you are really, truly brilliant. I don't think a lot of people know the depths of the intelligence that you have and what you have to share. And so it's an honor to be able to share that with people.
Thank you
So
so much. I appreciate that. I'm
thank
honored.
you.
I'm honored to be here with you. And you know what, Amanda? I also want to honor and congratulate you on what you're doing, taking over the company and where you're growing it to. And it's an incredible mission. And I'm honored to be part of it. And I can't wait to see what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. It's a lot of fun. It's been a wild ride the last couple of months, but it's a lot of fun. I'm really honored and blessed to have so many people like you that are encouraging me, who have given me insights and information and connections. And it's really amazing the community that we have in that we're also willing to work together and do things together. So thank you for your time. I know it's precious. And I'm so grateful to you. And I know we'll be talking again soon and maybe we can do some other stuff together too. So
Absolutely. I'd be honored. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you all.